Hello students, welcome back to the S Chemistry YouTube channel. My first question is, what you observe in my hand? Sir, this is one of the object of Shiv Shankar. No. So what you observe in my hand? You observe in my hand is solid, right? What you observe in my hand? Solid. What is the use of this solid? Sir, yes, it is used to conduct electricity. It is used to conduct what? Electricity. So central, these metallic wires are crystalline in nature, okay, and which is surrounded by a plastic material which is amorphous in nature. Which is what? Amorphous in nature. And now in this lecture we want to study the electric properties of solid. Electrical properties of solid. If you put into the socket and apply the electric potential and we touch over here, what we observed? You may undergo cobra dance. You may undergo cobra dance. If you apply the electric potential and we touch over here, we do not feel anything, right? Because electric conductance goes through the metallic wire, not goes through the plastic material, because the plastic material is used as an insulator and these metallic wires are used as a good conductors. They are conductors. So basically substances, solid substances are classified into three types. First one is conductors, that is metals, metallic wires. Metals are good conductors, that way they are called as conductors. This plastic material is called as insulators. And the third type, which shows properties which is intermediate between metals, conductors and insulators, they are called as semiconductors. And semiconductors are metalloids. So conductors, as you know, conductors, metals are good conductors of electricity and they have conductivity, specific conductance in the range of 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse, meter inverse. But insulators have very low conductivity, very low specific conductance in the range of 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to minus 10 ohm inverse, meter inverse. But semiconductors having intermediate conductivity, specific conductance. Conductivity is nothing but specific conductance in the range of 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to 4, 10 raised to 4 ohm inverse, meter inverse. So we can classify the substance into conductors, insulators and semiconductors depending on its specific conductance or conductivity, or what? Conductivity. What are the examples of the conductors? So as you know, metals are good conductors of electricity. Why metals are good conductors? Because they have what? They have free electrons. They have free electrons. So as you know, any charged particle can conduct electricity. So metals are good conductor due to they have number of free electrons. So conductance in metals is due to free electrons. Okay. And another example of conductors, they are the electrolytes. Electrolytes are the ionic substances. Electrolytes are the ionic compounds, ionic substances which when dissolved in water undergoes dissociation and convert into ions, and in electrolytic conductors, ions are responsible for ions, that is cations, and anions are responsible for conductivity. In electrolytic conductors, ions are responsible for electrical conductivity, specific conductance. In solid state, ionic substances are bad conductors because ions do not move in solid state. But in aqueous solution, ions can move from one place to another place and they carries electric conductivity. Okay, what about insulator? Almost all non-metals are insulators, except one of the example, beautiful example is graphite. And graphite, no doubt, is a carbon non-metal. Still, it is good conductor of electricity. That is why they are used in the batteries. Okay, cell we can say. Then semiconductors are metalloids. Sometimes it is called as semi-metals. Semiconductors, semi-metals, and the examples are boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, then antimony, tellurium, and polonium. These are the examples of metalloids. Okay, so electric properties of conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. Metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Electrical property can be explained on the basis of band theory. Band theory is not nothing but this band. Band theory. So what is meant by band? So band is nothing but molecular orbital. Band is nothing but what? Molecular orbital. You have to consider for band theory one of the beautiful examples, sodium atom number 11, and the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. If you write in molecular orbital diagram, right, 1s2, 2s2, 2p and 3s, 1s2, 2s2, the electronic configuration, right, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Similarly, for these atomic orbitals of another sodium, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. The atomic orbitals of sodium, 1s of one sodium, 1s of another sodium having equivalent energy. So you already know about the molecular orbital theory, MOT. Atomic orbitals having equivalent energy, for example, is 2p and this 2p, px, py, pz, px, py, pz. Atomic orbitals having equivalent energy can overlap with each other and form corresponding number of molecular orbitals. Suppose two atomic orbitals undergoes mixing, there are formation of two molecular orbitals. These are atomic orbitals. Once they overlap, there is formation of molecular orbital, right? One is bonding molecular orbital, which is having less energy than these atomic orbitals, and one is antibonding molecular orbital, which has more energy than bonding molecular orbital and atomic orbitals also. So bonding molecular orbital having low energy than atomic orbitals, antibonding molecular orbital having higher energy than atomic orbitals. Oh, what we observed, you have to look only at outermost electron, we can say valence electron. So you have to look at the only valence electron. Now valence electron is 3s1. What we observe is 3s and 3s of all atoms having equivalent energy. So in metallic crystal there are million trillions of atoms in small, right, part of the crystal, we can say, and the 3s atomic orbitals of all the sodium atoms overlap with each other, and there is a formation of molecular orbitals, and these molecular orbitals, bonding molecular orbitals, we can say sigma 3s, and this is sigma star 3s molecular orbital. So here is one electron. During overlapping, these two electrons accommodated in bonding sigma 3s molecular orbitals, and these 3s molecular orbitals of all the atoms overlap with each other, and there is a formation of band, and this band is nothing but what? Molecular orbitals. So these molecular orbitals of all the atoms overlap with each other, and there is formation of bands. Bands is nothing but what? Molecular orbitals. So band theory is nothing but, we can say, molecular orbital theory. Molecular orbital theory. So what we observed, in outermost shell there is a one band which is completely filled, right? Completely filled 3s and this is also 3s. So lower 3s is completely filled and higher 3s is empty. So what you observe is sodium. In sodium we observed lower half of 3s orbital is completely filled over here, right? And the upper half of 3s orbital is empty. That means lower half of 3s is completely filled, act as a valence band, and upper half of 3s orbital is act as a conduction band. So in band theory there are two types of band, valence band and conduction band. So conduction band itself indicate in that conduction band electrons are mobile, they can delocalize over entire crystal all over the atoms, and electrons in conduction band are able to conduct electricity. What about these electrons? If electrons move from valence band into the conduction band, in conduction band electrons are free. But why in valence band electrons are not free? Because in valence band electrons are near to the nucleus, they have greater attraction force, right? And hence they are tightly bound with the nucleus and hence they cannot move from one place to the another place. That means they are right not free to move. But in electrons in conduction band they are far away from the nucleus, they are free, they are delocalized over entire crystal and they conduct electricity. As you know, bands are of two types, that is conduction band and the valence band. What you observe in sodium, this sigma 3s, that is lower half of 3s orbital, which is shown in conductors, right? It is valence band, and the higher energy empty orbital, molecular orbital, is called as conduction band. What is meant by conduction band? The highest, what we call as highest energy molecular orbital which is vacant or partially filled. Vacant. In sodium it is vacant or partially filled. In case of magnesium we can say. In case of magnesium, because this 3s and this is the 3p, they overlap with each other and this conduction band is partially filled over here. The conduction band is partially filled in magnesium. So what is meant by conduction band? The highest energy molecular orbital which is partially or vacant in nature is called as what? Conduction band. And what is by valence band? So band is nothing but the molecular orbitals. Molecular orbitals having lower energy. Molecular orbitals having lower energy than conduction band molecular orbitals, right, is called as what? Valence band. So conduction band, highest energy molecular orbitals which are vacant or partially filled are called as conduction band. Valence band, the band or molecular orbitals having lower energy than conduction band is called as valence band. So what is mean by band gap? What is mean by band gap? So conduction band is nothing but highest molecular orbitals, higher energy molecular orbitals which are vacant or partially filled. Which are vacant or partially filled. What is meant valence band? Molecular orbitals having lower energy than what? Conduction band is called as valence band, and it is what? Completely filled with electrons. What is meant by band gap? The energy gap between valence band and conduction band. Valence band and conduction band is called as band gap. What is meant by band gap? The energy difference between valence band and conduction band. Valence band and conduction band. Valence band having lower energy, conduction band having higher energy. So energy difference between valence band and conduction band is called as band gap. Is called as what? is called as band gap. So the properties of conductors, insulators and semiconductors can be explained on the basis of band theory, that is nothing but band gap. The size of band gap decides whether substance act as a conductor, semiconductor or insulator. So we can explain the electric properties of these three substances, what is conductors, insulators and semiconductors, on the basis of band theory, nothing but band gap, and we can explain the properties with the help of band gap. What about conductors? What do you observe about the conductors? In conductors, there is no energy gap. There is no energy gap between valence band and conduction band, as like in sodium we observe there is no band gap in valence band and conduction band. In case of magnesium, valence band, this is s orbital and this is p orbital, 3s and 3p. What I observe here, half 3s. Lower half 3s act as a valence band, upper half 3s act as a conduction band. Okay. So in magnesium there is overlap between this is 3s and this is 3p. So sp band we can say. This is s band and this is sp band. So in metal there is no energy gap between valence band and conduction band, or they may overlap with each other. No band gap, no energy gap, or they may overlap with each other, and hence electrons can easily move in conduction band, and that is why at room temperature conduction band consists of large number of electrons, which is responsible for electrical character, high conductivity. In insulator, what is about band gap? Why they are insulator? They have very low electric conductivity, 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to minus 10 ohm inverse centimeter inverse, right? Or ohm inverse meter inverse we can say. Why they shows very low, poor conductivity? Because in insulator, the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is so large, right? And it is called as what? Forbidden zone. Why it is called as forbidden zone? Because by absorption of heat energy due to temperature, heat energy, electrons cannot move from, electron cannot promote, electron cannot move from valence band to the conduction band. So if electrons are present in conduction band, then and then only they are able to carry electricity, because in conduction band electrons are free, they move from one place to the another place, and hence they can conduct electricity. If electrons cannot promote into the conduction band, the substance, it may act as a insulators, because in insulator the energy gap between conduction valence band and conduction band is very large, and hence electron cannot jump into the what we can say conduction band, right? And that is why they are used as insulators, due to large energy gap between valence band and conduction band. In case of semiconductor, what we observed, right? Above absolute zero temperature, that is above 0 Kelvin, there is a presence of some heat energy, and this sufficient heat energy is absorbed by the electrons, and electron can jump into the conduction band. So by the absorption of heat energy, or we can say electromagnetic radiation, electron can move from valence band into the conduction band. As the number of electrons in conduction band increases, right, conductivity we can say increases. So in case of semiconductor, the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is not too large. It is very, we can say it is small, and this small energy gap, right, electron from valence band can be promoted into the conduction band by the absorption of heat energy from the surrounding, or we can say the electromagnetic radiation, by the absorption of electromagnetic radiation. So that is why semiconductors have low but finite electrical conductivity. Okay, so semiconductors have in the range of 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to 4 ohm inverse meter inverse. They have intermediate in between metals and insulator, because they have larger energy gap than metals but smaller energy gap than insulators, and that is why they have intermediate properties than conductors and insulators. Now, what is the effect of temperature? So, effect of temperature on the conductivity, of conductors, insulators and semiconductors we are going to see, right? As you know the first law of thermodynamics. What is the first law of thermodynamics? Energy neither be created nor to be destroyed, but one form of energy is converted into another form. If you provide heat energy, if you increase the temperature of surrounding, system will absorb heat energy from the surrounding. And what we observe now here, electron is not going to absorb any kind of heat energy because it do not want to jump, because two bands, conduction band and valence bands, they are overlap or they have zero energy gap. So for electron to go into the conduction band, there is no requirement of absorption of heat energy. So what we'll observe, heat energy should be converted into another kind of energy, right? So if you provide heat energy to the conductors, to the metals, if you provide heat energy to the metals, what you observe? If you increase the temperature of metal, they absorb heat energy and it should be converted into another kind of energy. So it convert into vibrational energy. It convert into what? It convert into vibrational energy. So in strip metallic wire, right? The metallic atoms, right? Metal cations undergoes what? Vibration. And this vibration interrupt the flow of electron, which makes hindrance to the flowing electron. And these vibrations of metal cations by the absorption of heat energy, because as you know the first law of thermodynamics, energy neither be created nor to be destroyed. So once you heat energy is absorbed by the metal cations or the, we can say, metallic solid, it should be converted into another form of energy. So absorbed heat energy is converted into vibrational energy, which interrupt the flow of electron. And that is why what we can say, right, effect of temperature in case of metal, temperature increases, conductivity decreases, resistance increases. We can say temperature increases, conductance decreases and resistivity increases, because conductance and resistance are inversely proportional to each other. What about insulator? No effect. No effect of, we can say, temperature on the insulator. Why there is no effect of temperature on the insulator? Because energy gap is too large. That is, heat energy is insufficient. Heat energy is insufficient to promote electron from valence band into the conduction band. So provided heat energy is insufficient to promote electron from valence band into the conduction band, so there is no effect on the conductivity of insulators, we can say. What about the semiconductors? If temperature increases, semiconductor absorbs heat energy from the surrounding. Temperature increases, conductivity or the conductance increases, resistivity decreases. Why we observe like this in case of semiconductors? In case of metals, temperature increases, conductivity, conductance decreases, resistance increases because of vibrations of metal cations, and metal cations are called as carnets. Okay. In case of semiconductor, if you provide heat energy, if you increase the temperature, they absorb heat energy. Who absorbs as the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is very small, we can say small energy gap, electrons from what? Valence band absorbs this sufficient heat energy and get promoted into conduction band. As the number of electron in conduction band increases, as the number of electron in conduction band increases, conductivity increases. But if we decrease the temperature, what we observe? The number of electrons in conduction band decreases, conductivity goes on decreasing, and conductivity falls into the 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to minus 10 ohm inverse, meter inverse, and then at very low temperature, semiconductors behaves as a insulators. At very low temperature, semiconductor behaves as a insulator. If you increase the temperature above 0 Kelvin, what we observe? Electrons from valence band get promoted into the conduction band by absorption of heat energy from the surrounding. Okay. Now, one of the most important term, intrinsic semiconductors. What about intrinsic semiconductors? Right? These boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, polonium are the pure semiconductors which have small but finite electric conductivity. They are called as, they do not have any impurity, they do not have external foreign atom particle, they do not have any impurity. So pure semiconductors are called as intrinsic. They are called as intrinsic semiconductors. Okay. So what we study in this lecture, we already discussed about the conductors, insulators, semiconductors in terms of conductivity, range, okay, in terms of band gap, and now we can define conductors in two ways. Conductors are the substances which have conductivity in the range of 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse, meter inverse are called as conductors. So substances which have conductivity in the range of 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse, meter inverse are called as conductors. Another definition in terms of band gap, conductors, the substances which have no energy difference between conduction band and valence band and conduction band, or we can say they may overlap with each other, are called as conductors. Once again, conductors, the substances in which the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is zero, or it may be overlapped with each other, are called as conductors. What about insulators in terms of conductivity, in terms of band gap? Insulators are the substances which have conductivity in the range of, how much it is? Substances which have conductivity in the range of 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to minus 10 ohm inverse, meter inverse are called as insulators. In another terms, in terms of band gap, the substances which have very large energy gap between valence band and conduction band is called as what? Is called as insulators. What about semiconductors? Semiconductors are the substances which have conductivity, electric conductivity in the range of 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to 4 ohm inverse, meter inverse is called as semiconductors. In terms of band gap, the energy gap between the substances which have energy gap between valence band and conduction band is small, very large, small. Okay. So substances in which the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is small is called as semiconductors. What is called as intrinsic semiconductors? So intrinsic semiconductors are the pure semiconductors which have finite but which have small but finite electric conductivity, are called as intrinsic semiconductors. Okay, if you like, please share the lectures and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much for watching.